Hey everyone, thank you for coming out again for another episode of Tiger Talk here on The One Good Reason. We have one of my favorite guests back again, Xavier. He's going to go ahead and share some knowledge on virtual reality. See, he's got the Oculus Quest 2 there, I believe. X, what's going on? Are you joining us here in reality or the perceived reality?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I didn't notice you there. You see, from the metaverse, we call you people humanoids. Yeah, that's what we call your kind. Yeah.
So I've wanted to talk about this like for a fucking long ass time. And you're like the only person that I know that's gone from one end of the spectrum to the other. I know you're fully immersed, fully knowledgeable about this now. And I kind of wanted to just share all of that raw experience with my audience. And I really appreciate you coming out. I know you're very fucking busy. So if we could just get down to brass tacks off the bat, what were your ideas, I should say, about virtual reality before you even touched a headset?
Well, my earliest experience with VR, as I can remember from the 90s, my mother purchased me a VR headset, and back in those days, it wasn't true virtual reality. It was still like a 2D image, and it was like projecting some type of two-dimensional animation onto a glass, and that was your VR experience.
Okay.
The next thing that I kind of experienced for as virtual reality was some type of simulator in a theme park. So basically you get inside this roller coaster, and the television image is high definition and a bit 3D, and it moves around. So that was
the shifts and the turns and things.
Right.
Was that intense for you? Was that kind of like, it felt like a video game?
It felt like a video game. So I really only thought of VR as that, which is just a game. Mm-hmm. You go in there now, and it's a true immersive experience. But I never have really experienced a VR game. I said I was always going to buy me a PlayStation VR headset, but never got around to it. But that was just my preconception of what it is. It's nothing really spectacular. You just put on the glasses, and then that's pretty much it. I didn't really know how truly immersive the environment would be.
Ooh, guess we got somebody working in the VR field. Awesome. So now you kind of get to see the conclusion, right, from the audience that's actually being catered to. So you have this idea, okay, it's kind of like a video game. Maybe it's a little bit niche. Maybe it's a little bit novel. And then you go ahead, you take the leap, and you get into it. Walk me through day one, strapping up, and were you underwhelmed, overwhelmed, or kind of walk me through that?
Okay, so you got me the Oculus Quest for Christmas. All right. So I think I didn't even open it until maybe a day or two later. I said, I'll just get around to it. What you guys should know at home, and I think I spoke about this probably one of our vintage Tiger Talks, we'll call it, back in the day, about my battle with depression. And that's usually during the time of the holiday season. Although I love October, November, December, because it's become a very festive time and a celebration, it's also very depressing to me. And there'll be different things that trigger that, obviously, that lead me down to the path. But as we progress through the year and get into December, it just gets worse. So that's happening in the background, right? So I get the Oculus Quest, and you're just going through the motions of really kind of setting everything up on the application. And I have to tell you, like, once you've done that and they put you in, imagine your computer, right? And your computer is a desktop wallpaper, and you can change the wallpaper from a space theme to a aquatic ocean theme. You can change it to a font, whatever you want to put on your desktop wallpaper. Each and every time that you open up your computer, what is very kind of similar to that for the Oculus Quest, at least I know, is that you can change your wallpaper, but your wallpaper is quote unquote your home. So your home can be in a spaceship. Your home can be in a cyberpunk futuristic environment. Your home can be in a very Zen Mexicano expired home. My favorite is, of course, the space themes. So every time I load up my Oculus Quest, I'm inside a spaceship. And to really grasp to what it is like you're like looking up in the sky, and you're looking downwards, and then you're looking at your hands, and then all the feelings and emotions that I was experiencing with my seasonal depression, it just immediately went away. It just instantly gone, because I felt completely in a different world. And that's just going through the application and just loading up your home page.
So
that's not even going into
up,
none of the apps and the games. That's just loading into
loading it up. Got you.
Yes.
That feeling of, I guess it's like an escapism, and just kind of something you hadn't experienced before, and it just kind of seems so surreal. I mean, so I'm picturing you, because I'm very vivid. I'm a very vivid person. I'm picturing you in this, cockpit of this spaceship, and the view that you're seeing, is it something akin to like this background here with the stars, or are you seeing like planets, or is it just blackness, or what does that space look like? And how convincing, I guess, is it as far as the movement and the fluidity of your emotion and things?
Yeah, so you're inside, like, let's say, not even a cockpit of a spaceship, but really like a living area, or a common area. I guess you can call it a living room inside the spaceship. And the view is you're looking out and you're seeing like the back. If I'm looking in the back of me, I'm seeing the back of the spaceship, and I'm seeing little spacecrafts flying by. If I'm looking in front of me, I'm seeing a planet. It looks to be like they try to model it as Mars. Perhaps that's what it is. But I'm staring at a planet, and it's just hovering. And even from the sound, whatever idea of what we believe how space sound would be, perhaps from all the movies that we watch. That's you hear that also, so you're very convinced. Your depth perception is convinced. I would say it looks animated, but in a good way, not like not too cartoony, if you know what I mean. But
so from there, you then, I imagine, would interact with others at some point. How is that first interaction? It kind of just sounds so weird to me, to like you're trying to make friends. So it sounds really corny, because when you actually think about it, it's like, how do you go about making a friend, right? And that's a whole nother Tiger Talk, that we got into, like friends, enemies, and acquaintances, right? But do you just walk up to somebody and say, hey, what are you doing? What are you into? I mean, I guess it's kind of the same like in real life, but I mean, you have a set goal to obviously interact with other people at some point, I would assume. How did that take place?
So before I answer that, I have to explain this. Going through the process of setting everything up, you create your avatar, and it was very important for me to try to create myself into this virtual reality world because I want to be in that world. I don't want to be anybody else. I don't want to be
Captain America.
nothing else. And I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to have this persona or personality into this world. I want to be myself. I want to be literally there. So keeping that in mind, I created my avatar, made him black. I have a beard. Try to capture the mysterious eyes that I have in hair, and I'm there. So imagine, and it is so interesting because my avatar looks like a Disney. Imagine myself as a Disney Pixar character. That's exactly how I work.
Okay.
I'm a Disney Pixar character in this particular application, which is Horizon World.
Horizon World. Okay.
So I myself, and I'm the first time I'm beamed into Horizon World, and I'm looking and walking around, and it was very peculiar because the people are nice on the first day, on the first week.
Wait, what do you mean nice? Like they wave or?
Think of it this way. When you walk down the street and you see somebody else coming from the other direction, most of the time, especially here in America, you try to avoid eye contact, right?
Yeah.
And also because maybe perhaps even the day that you're experiencing, you could be having a horrible day and something happened at work and you're just not feeling well and you just don't want to be bothered, or you're just an introvert and you just don't want to deal with all of this. That shows in your emotions and in your face. Now, when you're in this VR world and with these avatars, everyone's happy. Everyone's happy.
You're constantly in a euphoric smile, regardless of what's actually going on underneath.
I think people don't understand how much we communicate with our body language and with our face before we even say a word. Before we have conversations with people, our energy is already out there in front of our faces before we interact humanly. And when you compare that to the vibe of everybody just appearing happy, although that person behind the avatar could have had a horrible day at work and it's got on, and they just appear happy, they seem approachable. So and they are. And so people will just say hello and hi. And when that first person spoke to me and said hello, I was like, hi. Oh, hello. Hi. How are you? How are you doing? I'm doing good. Okay. Well, have a great day. Bye. Bye. It's just like that.
People are a bit more outgoing, maybe because there's a less there isn't a real, impending violence or a violent act that could take place, right? Or something like that. It's really just the communication aspect of it and the visual. So they don't have to worry about you trying to kidnap them or murdering them or anything like that. But I just wanted to go back to what you were talking about their faces being stuck on smile. It just makes me think of like RBF. Some people might be aware of the term resting bitch face, right? And it's kind of like a resting bliss face where you really don't know, you can't go off of the facial expression before you approach somebody, it sounds like, at least in Horizon World.
Right, and I won't say it's not like a full blown smile, but it's a
Okay.
neutral, generous, approachable grin or facial expression. So everyone seems approachable. You know how you walk into Walmart and a senior citizen that reminds me of my grandpa. You just want to give him a hug or whatever because they just have that energy and that vibe and that face of being just friendly. And there's, you also will probably walk into a bar and you'll see a tall, big, hairy man who's have a beard, and you say, "Oh, he's scary. He's probably going to beat me up," and he's probably just a soft teddy bear. But if you take all of that out, and everybody have this appearance of just being like a friendly Pixar character,
Being approachable, yeah.
Everybody appears to be approachable.
So let's get into that. So this sounds really curious, and surely, if you don't mind sharing, you've had some conflict, maybe, or some disagreement, something spicy that occurred, especially early on. Maybe if you didn't know the rules or the ropes, or what the taboos were, and things of that nature. Maybe if you'd like to drop a gem.
Well, I would say that my experience has been pretty much positive for at least the first month. I feel like as you go really deep into the different VR chat world simulators and also especially the video games, you'll meet those different types of personalities versus my experience the first time around. I was in more of a safe, family-friendly environment. So once I got comfortable and started experiencing different apps, I said, "Oh, they have like a virtual reality bar. Oh, they have a virtually reality comedy bar. Oh, they have a virtual reality club. Oh, they have a virtual reality black club. Oh, they have a virtual reality church." And when you start experiencing these communities and these different, or virtual reality gay club, when you start going to these different communities, there's different types of personalities that be there versus going to a more friendly, regular chess virtual reality game.
I'm sorry, that virtual reality church really fucked me up just now. I'm trying to picture. Okay, we'll come back to that maybe. We'll come back to that maybe.
Experiencing the more adult side of VR and going into these clubs and going to these comedy clubs, that's where I started to notice the shift. And these are some of these, I would say, the OG VRs that have been experiencing this for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years or more. So they're very comfortable. I would say that if you know those personality types, if you have like an Xbox Live and you play Call of Duty, or you have any type of gaming and you're playing online, you're experiencing people that purposely try to be a troll, or purposely say something racist, or purposely say something homophobic. And those people are there, and there are more people now with the popularity of the Oculus are taking those type of those type of egos and personalities, because they're only a VR computer warrior. They probably won't say this in person, but
so
they take it.
That right there kind of pisses me off a little bit, for obvious reasons. So before,
that's why it was so important for me to be myself when I go in there.
Yeah, and I want to ask this question because you just made me think about it, and I hadn't thought about it before now. Obviously, and when you take that off, and you encounter, we'll go to the racial thing for a minute. There can be any number of repercussions, we'll say, or consequences, right? Is there anything of the sort involved with the virtual reality, or what? Is there a law or um, punishment, or how does that part of it work? If somebody were to drop an N bomb and whip out their Johnson in public or something like that, like how does that work? Is there virtual reality police?
Well, they definitely have their community guidelines within the VR world, and the way they've gone about it is I would say a bit scary because your every action and your voice and where you go and what you look at is being recorded. And so,
Even in your home?
pardon?
Even in
No,
your
in
home? Like,
your no. Well, I don't know about that. I have to reread
okay,
the
okay.
contract that people just skip over and just accept. I'm not
Okay, okay.
I'm not so sure, but I
I'll read
would
all that shit.
say for as you're violating a particular rule in the VR world, there are guidelines. So for as this experience, I went into a comedy club, and there was this person who had an avatar was dressed like Donald Trump. And the person got on the stage and start ranting about just a complete nonsense. And then he went on and spurred on many different topics regarding, I forgot the name, but the little child that got acquitted from murdering the Black Lives Matter
Rittenhouse,
protesters.
Kyle Rittenhouse, yeah.
Yes, he was praising him and
Uh-huh.
all these different things. And so I was an avid none of that. And I was very vocal and I called him out on it. Within that group, they can take a poll to vote somebody out of this VR world. And so that would happen.
Holy
They
shit.
all took a poll and they voted me out. And also, I assume that somebody also reported me. So my account was suspended for like about a week because of that. When you go in and report an account, they tell you that there's an actual human that actually review everything. So
Okay.
from the time that you walk into this VR club and you're having these interactions with these different people, there's a third party or a person who views it like uh,
Like an investigator. So they don't just poll and vote you off like fucking Survivor or some shit. Somebody looks into it and
no,
sees
no,
if you're
no. They immediately, if you get voted off, you get voted off. Now,
oh, they
when you
review it after the fact.
suspended, and while and you're, let's say you're trying to
Wow.
um, appeal the suspension, there's
Mhm.
a person that actually look into that. But if there's a whole bunch of biased people that want to vote you off, they
Then you're
can vote
fucked.
you off.
You're
Yeah,
screwed.
yeah. If there's a bunch of people who want to spam report you and say that you're harassing, and they could do that as well.
Sounds like what happened with us back in the day. So you could literally be minding your business, being the best virtual human that you can be, and the next thing you know, you're fucking suspended. And do the suspensions vary in time, or is it should there be some expectation of one strike is a 24-hour? If this happens again within X amount of time, they lengthen it, or is it on a case by case basis?
That I don't know, and because of
Okay.
um, Meta and Oculus, they have it completely vague. It's really all up to them, and that they're
At their discretion.
yeah.
Wow. So aside from that incident, I know that was pretty shitty. I mean, so you know, this is something, as you said, that was helping you with maybe your seasonal depression, or even, you know, anxiety, etc. And maybe that particular day, you're like, yo, I want to go in here and just unplug, you know what I mean, or plug in, right, and escape. And you want to go into this place where you had that joy and that time away. And here you are, hearing some bullshit. You object to it. Other people think it's not a big deal. They want to get you the fuck out of there, and now you're suspended. And then you have to go through the appeals process. So that sucks. But I mean, aside from that, if you had to give it, you know, pros and cons, would you say there are more pros or cons, or would you say it's 50-50 or more cons and pros?
You can definitely make it out of what you want it to be. If you know, going in and knowing experience and knowing that there can be definitely some harm to this, you have to be safe. So it's I would say I choose to make it balanced. I choose to make it a positive experience, because you have to be safe. Even in the VR world, there's been a report that it was all over TikTok, that this girl was quote unquote virtually sexually harassed. And so I find that very interesting. And I think as we progress in this VR world, that there will probably have to be more and more strict rules and probably more and more laws. I just can imagine child predators, you know, going in there and impersonating themselves as a child to speak to other children, and you know, things like
So this
that.
is
You
age
know, it's
restricted.
really
This isn't age restricted. Like in Horizon World, you can like. It sounds like, okay. I'm just humor me here. I'm ignorant. I'm an ignoramus here on the topic, but you can essentially be a child and go into Horizon World, or are you virtually blocked from going into certain clubs, or their bouncers, or how does that work? That separation from adult content and children.
here's the thing. You have a VR, right?
Mhm.
And let's say your daughter wants to use it and play on it.
Yeah.
And your daughter goes in as signing as you as a grown man with a beard, and she's in an adult environment. How do you police that? So
I see.
if or a child, you know, sneak on the VR headset, you know, and that's happened a lot of times, but typically you can hear it in their voice. And then what the adults would do is vote that child that out of the adult
I see.
environment world.
Full circle. Okay.
Now you can set up a profile for your daughter,
Mhm.
and she can go into these worlds still as this child, but that'll be a little bit more obvious. There's
I see.
not, because you set your profiles for the age of 10 and this VR club is 18 and up, doesn't mean that they can't get in. So I don't know if
Really?
that's some type of settings that they need to have in their program, but that's still possible.
Just to make sure I heard what you said, kid can create a profile, can be made by a parent for a child. The child goes into Horizon World. Stop me at any point if I'm incorrect. They go into Horizon World. There's the a slide and a swing set or whatever at the park, and then down the way is the XXX Lounge, right?
Well, people don't create worlds like that.
Okay,
No,
okay,
it's
okay.
mostly like you're going into this club world. Now, people can create large worlds, but I haven't seen anything that wild.
Okay,
No.
okay. Because that's a concern, obviously. Okay. Um, so when you're using it, because I'm thinking about, I mean, this is curious. Like it's interesting. Like I feel like I kind of want to test the blood here. Um,
You definitely get it.
if
Definitely
okay,
get
if,
it.
I- if
It'll
I'm,
change your
if
life.
I'm able to get it, how long am I able to have the experience before, let's say, the battery dies? Or do I plug it in while I'm, because it seems like a lot of people, there's no cord. So I assume it's like charging. and then
But
maybe
that depends on your VR headset. I would say, and also according to reports, the Oculus Quest have the worst battery compared to others. So it depends
my
on your
bad.
headset.
My
So
bad.
depends on your headset.
I don't know any of this shit. So, what, like an hour? We're talking about half an hour, or
And it also depends on what you do. Now, if you're just watching some movies, the battery life, just like your phone, it depends on your activity. The
what I'm
battery life
doing.
may be shortened. But if you're going deep into like I was doing, going deep into the worlds, it drains quickly.
Now, you teased me about the movie theater thing. Was that real, or I mean, was that something you actually did in the virtual world? Like watching a movie, it was like you were in a theater, or how did that work exactly? You said you were able to do it with like Netflix or something?
Netflix have a VR app. Amazon Prime have a VR app, and there's another app that I discovered called Big Screen. I would say with Amazon, it's amazing because you can log into your Amazon Prime account, and whatever you watch from a sitcom or a movie, or if you're renting a movie, it puts you into a live movie theater. I would say the only con about that is that you're the only one there, but I will get to the pros in a moment.
Okay.
But it's really amazing because you're there and it's this huge screen. And I think that's what also helped me a lot with my depression, just being immersed in an environment. Because after looking at this, I can really tell, like, wow, I can live in a crappy space in the hood, and I put on this headset, and I'm a millionaire, or I'm in outer space. And it really kind of motivate me. Like, I am not going to live my life completely 100% thinking this is it. Like, no, I'm going to refurnish my apartment. I'm going to get these LED lights, and I'm going to make this more of a reality. That's what motivates me. But I can understand how somebody would say, or if you can't afford it, the benefits to that. Now with Netflix VR, it's like you're in a beautiful home. There's a coffee table at the bottom, and you have this huge widescreen TV. If you have a small television set in your home, you can put on the VR headset and you have a widescreen television. You don't have to spend money, $2,000-$3,000 on a huge television screen. And while you're viewing your Netflix show, you can look over to your side, and I'm looking at a beautiful mountain scenery, and it's snow.
Wow.
So what I do, I have on my headset, right, and I have my snacks, and or in the morning. At one time, I went to a coffee shop, and I was like, I would really experience this. And I'm in the real world, I'm sipping my coffee, and in the VR world, I'm in this virtual reality coffee shop. I mean,
You're getting
incredible.
the smell too. You're getting the smell and the motion and taste, but then up here you're seeing. So in the theater, you said that you're the only one there. I mean, are you able? I mean, if I wanted to get the same thing, I don't know, Oculus Quest 2, and we say, hey, the new Batman movie, right? I think it came out today, right? The new Batman movie. Fuck. But let's say that's out. Are you and I able to strap in, go to the virtual theater, and meet each other like we would, without a fear of like COVID, for example, and we can sit, in the theater and watch a real movie that's just come out? Are they releasing movies like that in the theater? Or, you know what I mean? Like, is anyone able to just kind of meet up and go in the theater, or would I only be in my own personal theater? Kind of.
So far as I know, you cannot do that on the Netflix VR. You can't do that on Amazon, but there is an app, and I'm quite sure probably the real OGs know probably other apps. But there's an app that I discovered called Big Screen, and in this app, There are some new release movies that you can actually go into like a real theater, or you can meet up your friend at a theater on this app and watch a movie. And I have done that. Not meet up with anyone that I know, but be inside a real virtual reality theater with other people.
So they can stand up and block the screen, or laugh, or sneeze, or what, those type of things you would expect in the theater, a baby crying or something. Are you in control of all of those individuals, or is it at random?
These are real people who have their headsets on the VR, and the cons about that versus you in a, let's say, in the Amazon Prime theater, is that these are real people, and sometimes you have these trolls. Sometimes you have somebody who's racist, or somebody who's saying obscene things about the actor or whatever, and you can hear that. Now, in this particular app, the big screen, they do have some things like virtual popcorn that you can eat. They even have tomatoes that you can throw at the screen, which is fun. And even a selfie stick and stuff like that. It'd be annoying because somebody, that's sitting behind you or next to you, you can hear them and they get talking loud. So sometimes people be purposely obnoxious because they know that they can't get away with that going to a regular movie theater. So they're just annoyingly being obnoxious or being loud or dragging their avatar in front of you. And you're trying
saying fire in theater or something like that, right? Those things, those little taboos with no, I mean, I guess you could be voted out, right? You could still be voted out if people.
With that app, I don't think so. It's different. Different apps have their different rules and whatnot. So I'm not sure. I haven't really tested that out, but you can on that particular app mute.
You can mute people. That sounds like Black Mirror. Like if you block somebody and we end up in the same corner, are you just not seeing them or not hearing them or both?
I did block somebody on the Horizon World, and it was scary because it's almost like the Black Mirror episode. All you see is a the icon of a blank Facebook.
Yeah, the little silhouette thing. Yeah.
Yes, that's what you see. There, you can see their name, but you can't hear them, and that little icon is just running around.
Oh, that's creepy. That's cool. That's creepy too. Like, yeah,
and that's how that's how they have it, where you can enter. You can be in the same world with a person who's blocked, but they can't bother you. It's very wild. It's trippy. It's completely trippy.
Do you think maybe already, but do you think like there are any celebrities doing the same thing? Like, this is my image, like, I don't know, like The Weeknd or something. Somebody creates their avatar and they're actually a celebrity in the virtual world and they have concerts and things like that. Or because I know there's this big thing with like NFTs right now. I know a little bit about that. Like the artwork and stuff, but are there, businesses and legitimate like concerts, for example, or restaurants and things like that people are building from the ground up and trying to like replicate what's going on in the real world?
Definitely, for sure. There's a lot of businesses that's calling into virtual reality, trying to merge. And for us, what I can tell is really is you go into, let's say, I'm just making this up, a Nike VR world. And if you want to purchase a shoe, it'll take you probably to their website, and then you can purchase the shoe that way. But you're doing your shopping experience through the VR headset. For us with celebrities, I'm quite sure there's celebrities that have VR headset. And I was actually talking to a coworker about this. And, if you're a Michael Jackson fan like myself, oftentimes in his interviews, he wished that he can just go out to the grocery store and just shop and be a normal person, just like everybody else. But when they see that it's Michael Jackson, it's the fandom and the screams and the fainting and the pointing and then the stares and then the laugh. So he would actually go out in public in disguises. In disguise, he would disguise himself to go out in public. I said, how interesting it would be if Michael Jackson had a VR headset and he can completely be a different person or whatever, make his avatar be whatever he wanted it to be, and then actually have a normal conversation about average day human problems. That's something that he could never relate to, being that he was a star from a child. He don't know what the normal life is.
So maybe for the celebrities, you think it might be the opposite, where they're coming in just kind of downplaying, so they can just, mingle. And that would really be an escapism tool. I could see, I mean, I'm not, a fucking celebrity or anything, but I could see it. I can picture that being a real way to unplug and just be normal for however long the battery lasts, right? Until the next plug-in. Pretty fucking dope, man. Really appreciate you coming on the show, man. This has been a mind-blowing experience for me personally, because I was kind of on the fence, like, should I get one at all? And then now I'm kind of leaning towards it. And then now I guess I have to do some research on which one's going to be the best for my situation. I have an Xbox, for example. I wanted to give people an opportunity to maybe chit chat with you in the Discord. I'll put that off to the side here, and maybe we can jump in the Discord, wait a few minutes to see if anyone comes in, and maybe if they want to poke and prod you, ask you a few questions or compare some stories. Are you down to do that, you think, maybe?
Sure, why not?
Awesome.
It's a stream, apparently. It's not a Discord.
Oh, okay. So, okay, yeah, tell them to contact Wes or Josh. Yeah, so if you guys want to reach out to Wes, our producer, or Josh, the founding father of the PSF, we can maybe get you in contact with Xavier while he is still sober at the moment. It is the weekend. And feel free to reach out and have a conversation with him about VR. The next episode, though, of Tiger Talk is going to come the very last Friday of this month. Let me pull up the calendar, give you an actual date. That should be the 25th of March. I have two competing ideas right now on how that show is going to go, so I will put that out as I make my final decision. But yeah, once again, man, it's been a pleasure. Hope to have you on the show again. And Wes, go ahead and beam us up.